All of this is not to say that British law is perfect, and I think there are some very, very serious problems with the way that British law currently operates. One of these, as I said, arises from the fact that the concept of marriage is so different in the two systems. Muslim marriage is a contract. At the moment, British law has a very weak way of recognising that. If you actually go down the Muslim route of writing up a marriage contract, husband and wife negotiate between each other and write certain conditions down, that's recognised as a prenuptial agreement, and the courts have discretion to recognise that or not. Just recently I got remarried, so I really do mean I have experience. I got divorced under Muslim laws and remarried. And I found it actually very sad that because we happened to both be here and it was more convenient, although I'm a Pakistan national as well, I could have gone and got married in Pakistan, but unfortunately, for various reasons, we decided we had to get married here. And I didn't get a marriage contract, and I was very annoyed about that, because I really wanted to put my conditions down. I actually like the fact that in Islam, the husband and wife can mutually agree to write certain things down, and it sets the basis for marriage. It really sets a clear basis on which to understand that human relationship. And most importantly, if those conditions are broken, the woman has the automatic right to seek divorce and keep all her financial rights. And I rather like that, I think, actually. But I have a very nice husband, so far. But there isn't space for that in the British system, and that is actually quite sad, because that system of marriage contract actually regards women as very autonomous. If you think about it, it says, the woman is an equal party to the contract. She can negotiate the terms and conditions. And this is where I'd like to sort of emphasize that, again, there's a space for the Muslim community here to really take things forward, which is if we started having a process of marriage contracts. Most people who get married through nikah here don't go through a marriage contract. So the parties are just sort of contracting nothing, which is actually not the proper Muslim way of doing it. If we could get to a situation where we have a good marriage contract, standard marriage contract with lots of rights built into it, and space for the couple to negotiate more rights according to their situation, and have that recognised, well, certainly we would be in a situation of taking couples far more advanced, in fact, than they are under English civil law. There's lots of ways of doing this, but I'm going to just put forward 4 very quick recommendations in terms of how to proceed with all of this. There is an absolute need for dialogue within the community. Open dialogue, first within the community, and this has to include women. Women have very diverse voices. I can't say my opinion is necessarily reflected even by my sisters in the Muslim Women's Network UK. We all have very different opinions. But there is a need to engage with women's groups and diverse women's groups, because women are the people who are most affected by these issues. I have another recommendation, which is not to get too obsessed with the form of all these laws. Is it unitary? Is it plural? Is it secular? Is it religious? Let's look at the content, because that's where the actual impact on people's daily lives takes place. What's the content? What's the outcome for the individuals? What's the outcome for the parents? What's the outcome for the children? So we need to have this dialogue within the community. We need to have a dialogue also at a national level. And when we have the Archbishop say he's talking about the nation, I want the nation to include women as well. I think there's a need for change in English law and policy. If anybody's interested, I do have a book which has very specific recommendations about how English law needs to change. There are problems in the actual text of the law, and there are problems in English policy, not least total and utter ignorance of Muslim laws generally, and also how they apply in other jurisdictions. And I would also call for a change in attitudes. I think there is a tendency to see marriage within Islam as something where the man is dominant. This is not the trend in Muslim laws in other contexts, and I think of the law reform processes that are happening in other Muslim contexts, such as, for example, the recent changes in Morocco, but also in Algeria, also in Pakistan, also in Malaysia, which are moving towards a far greater understanding of husband and wife as equal partners in this whole business of marriage. Thank you very much.